GOP leaders say they are not giving up and that they'll spend the rest of the week trying to come up with solutions to the concerns that their members have raised. But they'll then have to spend several weeks rewriting the bill and getting it reanalyzed by the Congressional Budget Office, which means they're going to be losing some critical time, Errol.
And Nancy, what was the reaction on Capitol Hill when lawmakers learned that the GOP leadership would postpone the vote?
Well, this is something that a lot of Republicans had been pushing for, both Republicans who had come out against the bill and Republicans who were still on the fence. They said that they didn't understand why this process was being rushed, that they wanted their concerns to be addressed. And after McConnell came out and said that the vote would be postponed, actually a slew of Republicans released statements saying that they would have voted no on the bill if it had come up for a vote this week. And so that just underscored how challenging the electoral situation was for Mitch McConnell in this situation, and why he had no other choice but to postpone this vote.
And among the 9 Republican senators who voiced opposition to the bill, the New York Times is reporting that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was also unhappy about a President Trump-aligned super PAC creating ads against one of them, Senator Dean Heller, who was just a few seats away from President Trump at Tuesday's meeting. That ad has been withdrawn, but does that mean that Senator McConnell has to stave off infighting now among his own party, in addition to trying to convince them to agree on this bill?
Well, it certainly shows a challenge that they're facing with outside groups like the super PAC that was running these ads against Heller. This is something that infuriated not just McConnell, but many other Republicans, even conservative Republicans who don't necessarily see eye to eye with Heller on this bill, but who argue, look, the whole reason that Republicans have this narrow majority right now is because you have senators like Heller who were able to pull off a narrow victory in a swing state like his, Nevada. A Republican who comes from a state like that is going to have a different constituency and a different point of view than someone who comes from a deep red state. And if you damage senators like that, Republicans say, then all you do is make it more likely that Democrats will pick that seat up in the next election. So they see this as friendly fire and unnecessary and the wrong way to try to get these wavering Republicans off the fence on this health care bill.
And we've seen today or Tuesday more Republican senators coming out against the bill. Why do you think the number continues to grow, and what's likely to happen after they all go home and speak to their constituents and likely get an earful?
Well, there are several factors here. First of all, that Congressional Budget Office analysis was, frankly, a real gut punch for Republicans. They had been hoping that the CBO analysis of the Senate bill would be a lot better than the House bill. But what does the CBO determine? It says, well, just about as many people under the Senate bill will end up without coverage as would under the House bill. And while premiums will go down, so are tax credits. So at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to end up paying more. One of the key goals of Republicans throughout this entire process has been to bring people's out-of-pocket costs down. And so you had conservatives and moderates alike saying, if we don't achieve that with this bill, then what's the point? Let's go back to the drafting table and get it right. Another problem has been that these outside groups, both conservative and medical associations and all the rest, have panned the bill for a variety of reasons. But the problem for GOP leaders has been that when they're looking for evidence that they're going in the right direction, they're having a hard time finding it, and that makes it tougher for them to make the case to their own senators about why they should take this leap.
And that has been some of the concern, that the more that people get to look into the details and see what's in this bill, the less attractive it becomes. A major issue for Republicans. Let's see if something happens here in the next few days, although it's very unlikely. Nancy Cordes joining us from Capitol Hill. Thank you.
You're welcome.